Hello and welcome, ladies and gents, to another action-packed and hard-hitting episode of Retrotopia. Today, Brian, Sam and myself will be hitting the mean streets and talking about a bona fide gem of the beat-em-up genre in Streets of Rage 2 for the Genesis/Mega Drive. I'm your host for the intro, Alan, aka the British Guy, and as such I will unfortunately be on the opposite side of the streets from Sam and Brian, so I'm probably going to get beaten up the most. Before we get into the game chat, of course, if you like what you hear and you want to get involved in the conversation, you can find all of our socials and Discord at linktree/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. As I said, you can find all of our social medias. You can find our Discord, where you can come and chat with some like-minded individuals and generally have a good time. And you can also find our Patreon there. That's right, we have a Patreon. It's free to join, and you can find all of our episodes, as well as our Quick Play podcast, which is a mini game review podcast where one of Sam, Brian, or I take on a little game to review. We have our monthly discussions podcast, Retrobites, where we pick a few salient gaming topics and just basically talk about them for a couple of hours. And we really enjoy doing that one. You can also comment on episodes. You can get involved in polls when they're up. And, well, you can also have your say from our 8-bit banter box. Now, I know this episode is going to be all about bar brawls and beating people up in alleyways, but this part at least is culturally elegant. Alright, let's see what we've got here. So first up, we've got 2 comments, in fact, from Unbuckled Cape 10. He says, Alan, it is well known that you have one of the world's finest video game collections. I would like to petition that instead of calling you the gentleman, we start calling you the collector. I mean, I don't know if I have one of the world's finest video game collections, but I think it's fairly safe to say I have the best video game collection on my road. So we'll leave it at that. And Cape, you're a comic book nerd, host, of course, of the Unbuckled Comics podcast, and you know full well that I'm a die-hard Marvel fan, so it can't be a coincidence that you are using the phrase the collector. Almost certainly a reference to Tanalia Tivan, the collector from Marvel, and yes, I like that. I like the character, I like the reference, and I'm going to start calling myself the collector, at least until next week. And so Unbuckled Cape 10's second comment goes on to say, "Oh mighty collector." Damn right. I was wondering, what is your white whale of video games? Do you own it, or is it still out there splashing around? I mean, my white whale of video games was originally a copy of Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PS1, but I actually got that a few years ago, so that was a very satisfying moment. Do you want to know what my ultimate white whale of gaming is? And this is probably going to sound weird, but as you all well know, I am a die-hard Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and ever since I was young, I have wanted a copy of Knuckles Chaotix for the Sega 32X. That game has not been ported to anything else. It literally only exists on the 32X, and it's probably around about £400 or £500 worth of game. Not only is the game expensive, but then I would also need to buy a 32X. I would need all of the cables. You see, it's something that I would love to have for the collection, but there's a lot to it, and that's, I mean, you're probably looking at about £700 just for that. But you know, a man can dream. That's what a white whale's all about, isn't it? So thank you, Cape. Appreciate that. Sir Busts a Lot writes in and says, the Friday night movie night chat in Discord. I've never seen anyone in this Is this something that fell off or never really started? I'll be honest with you, when you wrote this message in, I had absolutely no idea what you were talking about. But fortunately, our resident smart guy got involved. That is, of course, the wonderful Brian. And he gave a response to this one. And he worded it in such a way that I think it's gonna need the a bit of gravitas. So here we go. One night, a group had an idea to have a movie night. They wanted to do it often. They would pick a movie, enter the voice chat, start the movie at the same time, and it'd be like they were watching it together. Unfortunately, it never got off the ground. Still, it sits there, so that if one day it happens, we're ready. So yeah, that was what Brian said about that. So thank you very much for the answer to that one, Brian. What else have we got? So, finally. Now, obviously, Brian did not strike it rich because our next comment comes from Wildcard, who apparently still exists. And Wildcard says, Alan, wanna grab a drink? 100% Wildcard. Just let me finish off this intro and then you can pop round mine and we'll pop out to the local tap room. Yeah, sound good? Lovely, lovely. I'll just finish this first. So, thank you everyone for writing into the 8-Bit Banter Box. And moving on, what have I been up to? Well, we had a bank holiday weekend just recently, or as you guys, I think, call it a long weekend, which it is. 3 days off, always appreciated. So I managed to catch up with a few good friends of mine for some birthday drinks. Theirs, not mine. And we went to, funnily enough, a not so local to me tap room and had an ungodly amount of beers, and it was wonderful. Shout out to Iron Pier for not only putting up with us, but supplying some absolutely delicious libations. And the next day, of course, because everything is about balance, we went to I want to say 3-year-old's birthday party. So, you know, I was holding it together pretty well, because that's what you do as an adult. You know, you balance unbridled hedonism with parental responsibility. So it's a fine line to walk, but I think I do it well. Other than that, just the usual. Working, playing games. I've managed to... What am I playing? I'm not sure how this happened, but I'm playing a lot, and I seem to be playing 3 very large RPGs all at the same time. As you know, I've been sort of working my way through Final Fantasy XIII, really enjoying that one. I've also, my handheld game of choice at the moment is Golden Sun, The Lost Age on the Game Boy Advance, and I am fucking loving that game. That is something else. That I'm genuinely hooked. So I don't care how long that one takes, because I'm genuinely having a good time. Me and Mrs. Gentleman are, or Collector, are playing Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2 on the PlayStation 2 co-op. So we've been, you know, I almost said pounding our way through that, but I know I'm going to get comments about that one. So we have been slogging our way through Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance 2 there for a minute, and that's just really fun as well. So really enjoying that. I've been dabbling with Bionic Commando for an upcoming quick play, and that's an interesting game. I'm going to save my thoughts, obviously, for the quick play, but I have some very conflicting opinions about that game, so that's going to be very interesting to get into. And what else? I played a little bit of Rocket Knight Adventures, which is just gorgeous. I love that game. It's so much fun. Another Genesis or Mega Drive gem for you there. And what else? Is that everything? I think that might be everything. Yeah. So with that all said, it's time to move on to our next section, which is, of course, the Gentleman's Interlude. And I'm warning you, this I don't know who this guy is, but maybe don't get too close to him. He seems a little bit violent, a little bit high-strung. So here we go.
Alright mate, let me take you back to the glory days of the early 90s with a proper gem called Streets of Rage 2. Now this game ain't just any beat 'em up, it's the dog's bollocks. The real deal when it comes to giving you that knuckle busting action down your local boozer. Released on December 20th, 1992, this beauty hit the Sega Mega Drive like a hammer to the cobbles. It was developed by those clever clogs at Sega AM7 and published by Sega themselves. Now Sega back then, they were like the godfathers of gaming, right? Couldn't put a foot wrong. And with Streets of Rage 2, they delivered the goods, no two ways about it. The story goes like this. It's been a year since our heroes, Axel Stone and Blaze Fielding, kicked the stuffing out of Mr. X and his criminal syndicate in the first game. But wouldn't you know it, the slippery gets back like a bad penny, and he's kidnapped their mate Adam Hunter. So Axel, Blaze and the two new faces, Max Thunder, this massive bruiser who looks like he's been lifting barrels for breakfast, and Skate, Adam's younger brother who zips around on rollerblades. They're out for revenge. The gameplay? Oh, it's a right proper knockabout. You're going through the streets, whacking these goons left and right, picking up lead pipes, knives, even your turkey leg to munch on if you're feeling a bit peckish. Each character's got their own set of moves, all sorts of punches, kicks and throws to knock the stuffing out of Mr. X's henchmen. And the soundtrack? Mate, it's banging. Composed by Yuzo Koshiro, it's got that proper 90s techno vibe, like you're out clubbing on a Friday night but with more fistfights. Back in the day, this game was the bee's knees. The graphics were lush for the time, all bright colours and detailed sprites, and the controls were tighter than a duck's arse. Playing co-op with your mate was the best. You could take on the whole sodding world together, just like proper geezers should. So there you have it, Streets of Rage 2, a classic brawler that's still got the chops today. If you've never played it, you're missing out, son. It's a bit of history, a bit of nostalgia, and a whole lot of fun.
Alright, thanks for that, mate, fella, geezer, me old lad. Anyway, before we get into the game chat with Sam, Brian and myself, obviously, we always love hearing what you guys have to say about the game. So, Unbuckled Cape 10 is going to kick things off with graphics, slaps, soundtrack, slaps so hard, use of environment, slaps, gameplay, slaps the hardest. They should have named this Streets of Slaps. Yes, I agree with everything that you just said, except for the fact that now I can't help but imagine Streets of Rage 2, but you're playing as Dave Chappelle. If you've ever seen the Rick James skits, what did the five fingers say to the face? Slap! And it's just him going through the entire game of Streets of Rage 2. And I really want to play that game now. That sounds awesome. Moving on, we've got Chris Coplain. I hope I'm saying that right, Chris. If I'm not, let me know. But he says, it's my favourite game of all time. Even if you don't think it's that high up your list, I think most gamers of refined taste will agree it's probably the best game on the Genesis. I don't think that's an unreasonable take. I mean, it's obviously I'm not going to go into detail here. I mean, the Genesis or Mega Drive library is so fucking stacked that there are so many games you could point a finger at and say, this is the best game on the Genesis. I mean, I agree that this is a top quality game. Is it my favourite on the Genesis? Probably not. But I respect your opinion, and I respect that you just put it out there without any qualms whatsoever. So everyone, thank you for writing in. Again, we love to hear from you. We love to read your comments on the show. It's just nice to get that conversation going. And speaking of getting that conversation going, well, tape up those fists and pick up that pipe, because we're hitting the mean streets now as Sam, Brian and myself talk Streets of Rage 2 for the Sega Genesis, released in December 1992 in North America and January 1993 in Japan and Europe. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the episode.
right. We are here to talk Streets of Rage 2 for the absolutely perfect, wonderful Sega Genesis and or Sega Master System, depending on your region. And
Mega
with me,
Drive.
oh fuck's sake,
I
Mega
just keep
Drive.
going, keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck
No,
it.
I love when you
We're not
Sega
fixing
kids
that.
I love when you Sega kids screw up your own systems.
I'm not fixing that. Well, that's because I don't call it the Master System. I call it the Genesis.
Of course you don't. Nobody does. It's called the Mega Drive.
Oh my god.
This episode is going to be fun.
Well, all three of us are here today, and I'm getting myself into the mindset here, as you can tell. We played Streets of Rage 2 this week for the Sega Genesis, and I'm not going to call it anything else. Damn it! How you guys doing?
I'm going to call it something else because it's the fucking Mega Drive.
What? No, you're not, because you're just going to confuse me.
I call it the doorstop because that's all it was good for.
Is that true though? Is it really?
It is, because I had no doors that closed when I had a quote unquote Mega Drive sitting in front of it.
Yeah,
It is-
use it for a
it is-
doorstop. It's going to blast the doors right off with that blast processing.
Yeah,
Eat
that's
it.
right. It is kind of wedge shaped though. Like if we're talking like just of the consoles that you'd want to shove under a door, probably going to be a Genesis.
Technically, these are $100 consoles, or
Yeah,
more,
don't
a couple
do that,
$100. You can get a $10 doorstop at the Walmarts.
I mean, I wouldn't suggest it. I'm just saying of the 16-bit era, it is the most wedge shaped of the consoles.
So welcome to Retrotopia, everyone. Today we've been playing a doorstop.
Basically, yeah. No, I agree with that. But no, yeah. What are we actually talking about, Sam? Since
Streets
we
of
have not let
Rage.
you, yeah.
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage 2. Because
Duh.
let me tell you, I dabbled in 1 and 3 just to have a basis of comparison, and this is by far the best one. It's the most accessible. Would you agree? Alan, have you played more than 2?
I've played number 1. I've probably played number 1 more than number 2, actually, back in the day. And I've not played 3. I've had my eye on it for a while, but I've just never gotten around to it. And I've absolutely played Streets of Rage 4 because it's a fine example of a franchise that was brought back and absolutely done right.
Kind of like Turtles.
Kind of like Turtles, yeah.
When was Turtles done wrong? Oh no, don't answer that question. I can already think of the answers. Multiple.
But no, this is
No,
just...
but I mean, we're talking like Streets of Rage 2 and Turtles in Time are great beat 'em ups, and then like Shredder's Revenge and Streets of Rage 4 are just like a modern improvement on what was already great.
Yeah, exactly. It's taken what was already a winning formula, as we're about to discuss, and just tweaked it just enough to make it modern, but without losing any of that nostalgic charm.
And that's that's the sweet spot right there, is when they bring games back and they don't screw them up by overproducing them. I love that. I have played Streets of Rage 4 and I actually like it a lot.
It's a very, very good game.
Oh yeah, just I've never played 1 and 3 though, so I have no basis of comparison other than 4. And this game, not as good as 4. I'd say, for me personally, not as good as Turtles 4 either.
Interesting take.
Okay.
I prefer the Turtles beat 'em up over this one, but I found this one became kind of repetitive, and well, so does Turtles after a while. But
Yeah,
there wasn't a lot to do. You just kind of punch, kick, and move on. That's all the game. Like that's basically the premise of the game.
I mean,
You
if
don't
you're
even need a story.
yeah, if you're not a huge fan of this genre and you find these games repetitive or that they get boring, then I mean, I guess if you'd had your preference, then it's the one with the skin you most prefer, right? At
Well, it's
least
the one
if
I
you're
played
playing
as a kid, right?
that too, but at least if you're playing like Turtles in Time, it's like, well, you got turtles to look at and all kinds of Ninja Turtles things on the screen. This is just not generic, but it's different characters. It's its own kind of universe, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it
Well,
doesn't
Not really
have
tied to anything.
It doesn't have that franchise
Yeah,
behind it that maybe you're more familiar with from like toys and TV and what have you. And I frankly, I think that just kind of makes it a bit more unique. I mean,
Hmm.
listen, you can say the turtles are great to look at, and I'll agree with that, but this is no slouch when it comes to the visuals. This is a gorgeous looking game.
Oh yeah.
I won't argue with that at all. 16 bits wise, this is one of the best looking games I've seen on the Genesis so far.
Yeah.
I actually think it looks better than 1 or 3. I mean, 1 obviously is a bit older of a game, but 3 I thought it just the little bit that I played, unfortunately I don't have like a huge basis of comparison, but I didn't find that it looked any better or played any better than 2.
It looks a lot
Well,
weirder.
It is weird.
I can't remember number 3, but isn't one of the characters like a kangaroo or something?
Yeah, some weird like they switched up one of the characters, but like and the characters in this game are great too. You got Skate, who's pretty cool. You got Blaze,
Yep.
my girl Blaze.
Yep.
And then the other two, like the big hulky dude that I didn't use very much, and then
Max Thunder.
yeah, Max.
Thunder. And
He's
Axel.
great because he could like basically he could take a punch and not get knocked down, I think, and he's pretty useful against some of those bosses that could kind of throw you around if you were one of the lighter characters, but otherwise I thought he was too slow.
Yeah, I used him on my first run through the game, and I didn't like him just because of how slow he was. It felt like I was trying to drag a couch across the screen. It other than that, but when he did actually get the enemy there, he did just like thunder right through them, maximum style.
Maximum Thunder.
His throw-in ability was pretty powerful, and his, I guess, special attack was just a shoulder check or something, and that was worthwhile.
Yeah.
I did my second run through, and the one I finished the game with Axel Stone, because why not go generic, right?
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah.
Who's your character, Alan?
I mean, by and large, whenever I'm playing most beat 'em ups and fighting games, I'll usually go for the girl. Because they're always very quick and very easy to use, and it just suits my playstyle. I like that very quick hit and run style of gameplay.
So did these stats have no effect on your choice of who you were picking?
I beg pardon?
They
Well,
did for me.
every character comes with a stat, right? Like you
Oh,
have,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, so Blaze is pretty well rounded across the board.
She's got the
So,
same
yeah.
exact stat, like all the way down. It's like
Yeah.
straight
Yeah.
2s or 3s or whatever
Blaze-
all the way down.
Blaze is the Mario of every Mario game that he's a character in, or the
Yeah.
Leonardo. He's just straight. Everything is just balanced, but she's
Yeah.
not special at anything. Axel has technique, but has no jump. I think Max is all power and Skate's all speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And I really like how they did that with, I think even maybe Streets of Rage 1 has that, but you have like each character with their specific abilities or their specific stats, and that wasn't, I don't think, very common in those days, and it really kind of suits your either your play style, or if you're new to the game, I would suggest going in with Blaze and kind of getting the feel for it first before you try to get fancy with, I want to be faster or, have more power or whatever.
Yeah.
No, screw that. I just went with Max Thunder because he had a great name, and then he was way too slow. So I went with Axel because he was kind of faster but still more powerful. And guy on rollerblades or inline skates, just he didn't tickle my pickle, if you know what I mean. And you know what? I'm equal opportunity. You're not going to see me hit a woman.
Oh, man,
Unless
we
she's,
are
on the opposite side of Max Thunder, in
I
which
was gonna
case
say,
that woman
yeah.
gets hit.
Hit her with the couch.
unless she's trying to hit me with an electric whip, like dominatrix whip or whatever. Like some of these
Don't
enemies are
threaten me
so
with a
great.
good time.
There
Yeah.
are some. I mean, this whole game just reeks of the 90s, doesn't it? I mean,
Yes.
in character design, in setting. I mean, you start off the game and right off the hop, you're introduced with this sleazy, like, electro jazz music, while the game basically explains that, here's Mr. X, and he's back from the dead somehow, and it's just like, the streets have fallen into disrepair again, and 4 vigilantes have to go and basically clean up crime, and it's just like, okay, I get what's going on here. This
Yeah.
is basically
think-
a 90s action flick at its finest.
I think they made it a little more personal because Skate's brother was kidnapped or something like that. So at least they
Right.
have a valid reason to go, beast mode.
Yeah, so that was Adam from the first Streets of Rage game. So the first one was Adam, Axel, and Blaze.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I didn't pay any attention to the story. I didn't read the crawl at all. It just was kind of to me, the thin story that's here is just kind of the frosting of the cake, I guess, or just like the vehicle that gets you into the, this is why you're doing what you're doing. But I don't care.
Let's be honest. Do you really need a reason to start this game? Like, Double Dragon's the same way. There's like some sort of deep, rich story behind it, but I don't even know what it is off the top of my head. This game I only know because I read the wiki an hour ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, basically, all you need is the name of the game. It's just like, okay, there are streets, they're rage. Okay, I'll go and rage in the streets.
And it's happened once before, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't take. Somehow Mr. X returned.
Yeah, well, that happens with my ex.
Ew.
I just like that the characters remain kind of consistent game to game, but they'll make those subtle variations. Like Skate, Skate's brother was kidnapped, and so Skate joins the team in the second one, and then I can't remember who they swap out, but basically it's like Axel, Blaze, and then two others in the third one, and I think they carry over into 4, don't they?
Yeah, I know.
I honestly couldn't tell you who the characters are in 4, but I'm going to look that up.
I'm sure Max turns up in 4 as well, but I don't know why I feel like his was a downloadable scenario.
Oh, even better.
Let's see. Playable characters returning from Streets of Rage 4. Axel Stone returns. Blades Fielding. Adam Hunter, who's unlocked in stage 4. Max Thunder.
Oh, that's cool. So they mix up the formula a little bit, but yeah, like some of them continue from game to game, and then as is worked into the story a bit, some are different, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. My playthroughs, I think the best playthroughs I got, and I didn't end up finishing this game because I was playing it, and I didn't play this as a kid, unless it was rented at some point. But and I'm also not. Another disclaimer is that I'm not great at beat 'em ups, so it's not really my type of game either. I tend to do really well for a while, and then either my focus lapses or I don't know what, but then I'll get to a point where I'm like, oh, I'm doing really good. I got 7 lives here. I'm ready to cook. And then I just lose like 3 of them back to back to back, like something will get kind of under my guard. But mostly it was Blaze. And then I think I did pretty well with Skate on one run, as if you were to look at my high scores on my Genesis collection cartridge. So it'll say, like Blaze ass or Skate ass. anytime I game over it, I just put ass in for
that's as is tradition.
So it's a lot of Blaze and Skate
in the 90s. Skate ass.
I did one thing I did like about this game was the weapons you could pick up on the ground. It took me a while to realize you could actually throw them, which made the knife a little more useful. But
fuck, how do you throw them? Damn it, because I would have loved to get rid of that knife. That knife sucks.
Well, I don't know the combination on the actual Mega Drive controller, but on the PlayStation it was X and O together. When you press those together, it threw the weapon out of your hand.
Because I knew full well you could throw the weapons. I fucking knew it, and for the life of me, I could not figure out how to do it in this game. And I'm sure, like playing Streets of Rage 1, I was just whipping knives around the whole time, and it's just I just couldn't. And that knife is shit.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, the knife
that's
sucks.
why I got rid of it.
It's not worth hanging on to.
Down.
Yeah, I mean, if you could figure out how to throw it, it could. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
no, go on.
You knock it down, but then they just get back up, and you've not done that much damage.
No.
No, yeah, that's what I was about to say. But the one I did like was the pipe. I love laying pipe. You just pick it up and you just lay pipe into this big muscly dude, and then comes Electro Whip lady, and you're laying pipe into her, and it's just
Yeah.
absolutely outstanding,
Stop
right?
saying laying pipe.
nothing like laying pipe into a muscly dude, I guess. I think the katana was my favorite because I think it had actually a little bit more reach and did a lot more damage than the pipe.
Yeah, for sure. The katana was
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
amazing. And if you
Katana
could,
also had a backswing if you're lucky enough.
Yeah.
You start your swing there and you like poke the guy in the back.
yeah,
I also noticed that Max had like a kind of a backswing to his punch. Like if someone was behind you and you cocked back for a punch, you'd get him with the elbow and then punch the guy in front of you. It was awesome.
Yeah.
that is handy because you can get swarmed very, very
Yep.
easily in this game, and it can get a bit out of control at times.
Yeah, that's where I would get I would try to have there is some strategy to this, I think, where you can kind
loads.
of progress yourself through the level bit by bit to like take care of, a reasonable amount of enemies at a time. But if you're just like rushing forward, you're going to get 5 or 6 enemies on the screen, and they're going to be all over the place doing different things.
Yeah, and then you're trying to punch in front, punch behind, punch in front, punch behind, all the while just trying to not get stun locked.
That was a good strategy, is you just walk until you hit the imaginary edge, and then all the enemies would line up, and then you just start like body slamming them into each other.
Yeah. That works. Yeah, there's a good amount of crowd control if you can throw an enemy into another like crowd of enemies, and that did come in handy in a pinch.
Or
more often than not, that saved me.
Yeah. I would move into a circular motion and kind of like draw them into a group, and then if you were doing your standard punches, you could punch a stack of like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
4 or 5 random punks. God, I love the enemies in this game.
Yeah, they're they go from generic to completely ridiculous.
Oh God, yeah. So I mean, you've got all your just generic, again, like just random punks. You've got thugs. You've got your whip ladies, and then it just starts getting exponentially crazier from there until you're sort of in the end game, and now you're getting the previous bosses as like normal enemies. So it gets crazy. That difficulty curve gets pretty steep towards the end.
I like how every enemy's I guess new, more difficult enemies kind of introduced as either a sub boss or a boss of a stage, and then in the next stage are the generic bitch enemies, a little bit dumbed down, but still the same fighting patterns.
Yeah. And you may think that sounds repetitive, but there's so many enemies in this game.
Except for Jet. Jet's a dick.
Yeah, Jet can fuck off.
Fuck Jet.
I like how they all have different names too. Like when they don't do this in Streets of Rage 1, but when you're kind of more or less, I mean, there's no lock on or anything, but when you're engaged with punching an enemy, it'll show their health gauge and then their name. So some of them repeat, but like never jump kick a Donovan. That guy will smack you right out of the sky.
Donovan.
But there's
that
certain
just sounds
ones
so unthreatening.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like I'll try to jump kick those guys, and then they'll do some sort of uppercut and hit me in like the ankle, and then I fall down or something. It's like
your one weakness there, Achilles.
Yeah, the Achilles heel. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, or kind of just a fun touch that they had either like they were kind of palette swaps sometimes of just like different shirt colors or different jacket colors or whatever, and some of them had like varying strengths. Or would carry weapons in or whatever, but they all had names.
Yeah, it's a little extra touch. Didn't need to be in there, but it's nice that they did it.
Yeah,
I find it easier to just beat the shit out of someone if I know their name, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
take that, Donovan.
You're
Donovan, you fucker.
You're not just indiscriminately beating people up. You're beating up a tomcat or
our signal or whatever. That was a weird name.
Or a bear.
Bear, yeah.
Oh, that was
or Big Ben.
Big Ben.
That big guy that did the belly flops. He was a
Oh, is
boss
that
in
it?
one of the levels on the pitcher's mound of the baseball field, and then he just
Oh
ends up
yeah. That's
he ends
Big
up
Ben.
being Big Ben. Yeah, he
Big
ends up
Ben.
showing up a couple extra times too.
Yeah, there's two versions of him. The red shirt one, which is as strong as Big Ben, and then there's the green shirt one, which is weaker and can be knocked down. Because I think that was Big Ben's thing, was you can't knock him down, so you just kind of feed him the fists until he dies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Where the green shirt one can be knocked down, making that break in your attack, and you have to reline up and go at him a second time.
Yeah, I got lucky with those guys because by and large, most of the time when I had to fight them, I had Brian's pipe, and you
Eat pipe, Electra.
eat pipe. You can, fucking hell, you can literally just swat them out of the air when they do that belly flop if you've got the pipe. So that was golden. It's like this run. I mean, for context, I knew that this episode was coming up, and I had not played this game in a while, and it was getting pretty close to us recording, and I still hadn't played the game. And I thought, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to, like, after the wife's gone to bed, I'm just going to slap it in, just play a couple of levels and see how far I go. And I got on the hottest of hot streaks and managed to get all the way through the end and beat the game. And it's never happened before. It's never going to happen again. I got lucky.
you did it.
I did, and a lot of this game comes down to the tactics, and B, luck. Lots of luck. It's like you said, Sam. It's just like you can be on a hot streak with as many lives as you like, and then all it takes is a couple of bosses ganging up on you, and you're fucked.
Yeah, I think sometimes if you can open up really well against a boss and kind of just like get in a few punches and knock down, because some of those bosses have like 2 or 3 health meters worth of health, and if you can land a bunch of punches right away, you're in a lot better shape. But sometimes they just come in and you're just in bad position, and they throw you a couple times, or gosh, one of those, sometimes they'd whip out an attack that you don't usually see either, and it's like, what the fuck, where did that come from? There was the big guy we were talking about, Big Ben, does this like fire breathing thing, which I assume is like heartburn or a burp or something like that. But I had him on the ropes, and then all of a sudden he just like started running around the screen breathing fire. I was like, where's what?
Absolutely.
Oh man, and I think who's the worst boss? What do you guys think? There were some
that
pretty
wall
rough
thing.
ones.
The wall thing
yeah.
that shows up once in the amusement park. I have the name here.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
have hell Hilitz. It
wall
just
thing.
sits on the wall, completely does not fit the theme of this entire
No,
game.
yeah.
And you have to get this head, and basically it's just a head that swings around off the wall while you fight the brutes on the ground, and then you have to punch the head enough times for it to blow off. And it's like, what? Why?
That is weird. I mean, the only justification I think is you're kind of in a theme park, amusement park sort of thing, and I figure you're just in like the sci-fi area. But yeah, I only remembered that boss when you mentioned it. It's just such it's a non-event, really.
Yeah,
it's
a really weird
enemy
section
that shows up once.
True. Yeah, but I mean, you can't really do that again, can you? It's just, it was lame one time. If
the theme of the game had shifted to be more sci-fi based, it would have fit better, but they just, like, it literally doesn't fit the entire theme of this game, which is just back alley brawling. I don't know why they put it in there, and even the style of attack the enemy uses feels more like it belongs in a Contra game than a beat 'em up.
Yeah, all it does is just like slowly go back and forth, and luckily jump kicks.
Neck.
Yeah, luckily jump kicks do a good amount of damage to it, but it moves so slowly, and it still manages to be hard to escape or like get dodge or whatever. It'll just slowly move over the screen and hit you.
Yeah,
no matter what.
And somehow it seems to be in the right spot just to give you a little bump there when you're kicking the ass of the other guys on the ground.
Right,
yeah,
that too.
If you don't keep track of where it is in its swing, like, it can
catch you that's out. The other thing is it blends into the background, so if you're focused on something else, your peripheral doesn't really pick them up.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
it's a weird boss, but it's there. Whatever,
it's
it's
not a
not.
game breaking boss,
No, it's
No.
but
not difficult to beat. It's just, I mean, now Zamsa.
That guy
Now
sucks.
there's
Oh
a
my god.
boss that can go fuck itself.
I actually
you
think that
mean Wish.com Blanca?
yeah.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
the most part, I think the bosses are actually pretty hard, and whether or not um I mean, people are going to disagree, but I'm not like I said, these aren't my favorite types of games and I'm not great at them. So I found the bosses difficult and I left the difficulty the way it was when I started the game. So I probably
Hmm.
was playing on normal or whatever, but um man, Zamza gave me some trouble. Um what's this like Abadidi or whatever, this like Sting looking wrestler dude? That guy sucks.
Oh,
Oh,
Wish.com Ultimate Warrior.
that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, because he just runs in and just like clotheslines you, right?
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
you're playing as I think if you're playing as the big dude Max, he doesn't have as much problems with a character like this or an opponent like this. But if you're playing Blaze or Skate, that guy is just gonna walk up to you and throw you around. It doesn't matter,
True.
what you're doing. You could be in the middle of punching the shit out of him, and then all of a sudden he'll just do some move and knock you over, and then pick you up and body slam you or pile drive you or whatever.
See, there were
And
some
it takes a good
bosses.
amount of health.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are some bosses in this game like Zamsa, like Jet, that gave me an awful lot of trouble. But I'll tell you, I'll give you my little secret. A lot of these bosses I found you can stun lock, and the way you do that is
Okay.
if you all you need to do is just a simple punch, but give yourself enough time that your next punch doesn't continue the combo. So it's usually
Oh,
punch, and when they come back, punch, and you can basically stun lock a lot of these bosses. It doesn't work for all of them, but this is a technique that I used for a fair few, including Abadidi or whatever his fucking name is there.
yeah.
It's just like as long as you can get that one punch in, let their stun animation just reset, and then hit them again. You'll never finish the combo, and you can pretty much just lock them there until you've beaten them.
Oh, that's incredible. I should try that next time.
Like I said, Zamsa will just laugh at you.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
He's quick, so he'll do some sort of thing where he like does a backflip and then like
oh
dives
yeah.
at you and does something crazy and
In
whatever.
fact, the only way I found to beat that fucking guy was to use my special attacks, which is not something you really want to do in this game because
No.
it does reduce your health. You do a very powerful attack at the expense of your own health. So it's a real Hail Mary. But I just fucking had to because nothing
Oh,
else was working.
but there are some combos in this game that I found to be I kind of found a couple of them by accident with Blaze. If you hit forward, the forward directional button twice real quick and then hit your attack button, she'll do some sort of like cartwheel thing.
Yeah,
And
like a back like a bicycle kick thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, or like a forward handspring or something, and it would work really well for like characters that would either throw shit or like those whip ladies. As they're
Hmm.
whipping, I would forward handspring over the whip and then end up
Oh
doing like a really good amount of damage once you hit, and it
no,
didn't cost any of her health.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was great. So that's like any of my success in this game is like just spamming that forward flip, and it actually worked pretty well. As much as I dislike fighting that Zamza piece of shit,
Yeah.
that forward flip thing really helped because as he's like trying to do like little spin attacks or jump around the screen at you, you can kind of avoid it sometimes or catch him by surprise that way.
Awesome. What about you,
One,
Brian?
well, the one I used was with not Max Thunder Axel. There was an uppercut,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know exactly how to do it. I couldn't tell you for the life of me. All I know is you have to hold down and rotate like you're doing a Hadouken or something in Street Fighter.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then one of his moves just becomes this like sliding uppercut that gives you a couple of frames of invincibility there, and knocks an enemy down.
Oh yeah,
It's a
Nice.
yeah, I
one
know.
hitter, so you're not going to kill a lot of enemies with it, but it's enough to kind of break the action to give you a moment to breathe.
Sure. And it looks fucking
Yeah,
cool as well.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
And then
It's all
it
about the cool
scatters
factor.
enemies so that you can focus on whoever's maybe behind you or, approaching you from a different angle or whatever.
Yeah. Anything that gives you even a second or two of crowd control is incredibly useful in this game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's the other thing I find really weird about the game is when you go to grab somebody, you just literally have to walk up to them, and sometimes it's kind of awkward there because you get into that uh, distance where it grabs them, and then you don't realize you have like you're holding on to the guy and just staring at each other, locking eyes there, getting
Yeah.
really intimate, and you're like, oh yeah, and then you like body slam him, and it's like, oh, okay, but it's just this you don't push a button to grab them, you walk into them and it's automatic, and that one kept catching me off guard, so I go to punch somebody and next thing you know they're embracing, and it's like, oh,
Oh, a
better
little
body
hug.
slam them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, hug from behind, if you know what I mean, laying some pipe.
and that and that works both ways, because obviously if you aren't initiating that contact, you can very easily get grabbed yourself and have some pipe laid on you. So
Yeah, and that's what I never got is how does it determine who grabs who? Like, so like I'd go
Oh,
through
who is
a
the
block of
dominant grabber?
enemies. Yeah, exactly. I go through a block of enemies who'd grab me and be like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like we're both doing the same thing. Is the one who moves in or something?
no,
Yeah.
it's I found that I was able to grab enemies if as I was approaching them, you're not approaching them head on, you're approaching them either just a little bit forward or a little bit behind them as far as like the kind of 2.5D plane that you have. And if you approach them from over the top and then come down and hit your attack button, that's where you're grabbing. So you have to kind of get up alongside them and then move down on them.
Yeah.
Giggity. And then hit your attack button, and then that's where she would like usually grab them and throw them down. Or if they were facing away from you and you did that, that's where she did that kind of like suplex thing where she like flipped them over the back, or she'd flip around them and throw them that way.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
really hard to time it.
it is. And the other part is you actually lose the weapon in your hand if you do a
Right.
grapple attack, and it kind of sucks there if you're going, like I said, laying pipe on everybody, and you accidentally grab somebody and he drops the pipe, and it's just enough for it to disappear, and it's like, well, you motherfuckers had a couple good hits with that.
Oh yeah, there were definitely bosses where there's one boss where there's a pipe, and then there's another boss where there's a katana somewhere like right before that in the level. And if you can hang on to it and land some hits with that, you can really fuck them up pretty pretty quickly. Even if you lose it eventually, you'll at least get like a good um, half to three quarters of their initial health bar off with that friggin' katana.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
well, some
thing's
of the
awesome.
other attacking things I notice about this game is you can actually pin some enemies in the corner and or against the wall and just continue beating them every time they stand up. Like you kick them in the shin and they flop on their back again. They stand up and you just repeat that process till they die.
Yay.
Uh,
Stun
It,
locking.
yeah,
Yep.
it was kind of boring. Is I guess the word I'm looking for here is you got this backstreet brawler and there's nothing to like give the uh, opponent a second to get up and recover. There's no tactics to it. Just literally bully the guy until he dies.
But is that a criticism of the game or the genre? Because that's to me that's a criticism of this genre is that I find
It
them
could be
pretty
both.
repetitive.
I mean,
I mean,
it's play style as well. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
have to do that.
well,
You
you
know,
It's
don't,
your
but I mean,
fault,
if you're
Brian.
going to beat the game, like you're going to use
it's
every
like,
dirty tactic at hand.
well,
Like when they
exactly, but
go
don't.
off screen there, and you just punch the side of the screen, they walk in and eat your fist because they don't attack until they're on
Well,
screen.
exactly, but don't blame the game for being cheap.
I
If
didn't
it's
blame the
you,
game for being cheap. I said it was boring.
well, I
Although it
guess.
is cheap when someone just like slowly walks up behind you and like donkey punches you in the back of the head. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm working on your friend over here. You wait your fucking turn.
I'm not sure if Sam's still talking about the game or not.
No,
You know,
we've
it's up
devolved
to.
into that time of the day.
We're still talking about laying pipe.
Yes,
God damn
stabbing
it.
with my 3-inch knife.
Wait, I'm trying to
Horny
see if
jail.
I'm looking. Yeah, bonk. I'm trying to see. I'm looking through the manual real quick and trying to. There's jump kick. Oh, blitz. Yeah. Okay. So D button twice in the same direction and the B button, which is each one of them has a different blitz. So that's what that's called. That kind of quote unquote special attack or combo attack that I found. And I really found that useful, but each one of them has a different version. So Brian, what you found was Axel's grand upper, which is his version of the blitz. And what I found and then what I found
okay,
is
the game's coming out in about 3 hours, guys. We need a name for this uppercut. Oh, grand upper. Oh,
grand upper.
that's terrible. Let's use it.
Yeah, Blaze had the vertical slash. That was like kind of that forward handspring.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. No, I said slash, not gash. Come on.
Same thing, buddy. Same
Sorry,
thing.
that was filthy. Just please please edit that out. I'm not
No,
proud of that.
If you want to send me a hate mail to Sam, join our Discord where you can talk to him one-on-one and report him for gross behavior.
Yeah, that was an awful joke. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what, if you join our paid Patreon tier, we'll let you donkey punch him.
Yeah, but you have to wait your turn.
Oh, jeez.
What else we got? Let's get back on track here, boys. You're just kind of making me grossed out.
Did you ever find? Did you ever find that frustratingly, where we're talking about the weapons, sometimes you'd be sort of lining up to punch someone and you'd accidentally pick up the weapon instead.
Yes,
and then
Yeah.
you'd sort of get into this sort of up and down motion where you're swapping through weapons and just getting punched.
yes,
Listen,
that happened to me one time. I was like, "What the?" It was a pipe. I had a pipe, and then there was a pipe on the ground,
Yeah.
and I just kept
Swapping 'em over.
crouching for pipe.
and getting
Was,
punched in the face, which
and
is
getting punched. Yeah.
Who's the knife guy there? The one that would always like pull out another knife every time you knocked one out of his hand.
Yeah.
that the boss?
Signal.
No, it was one of the like kind of mid bosses, right?
I'm pretty sure it was. Oh yeah, maybe. Anyways, you guys know who I'm talking about. He
sucked.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he would pull out another knife and then he'd knock it out of his hands and you'd have a pile of knives on the ground. And then that happened to me. I had like 3 knives and I went to go punch him. And he picked up a knife and then punched me in the face. So I dropped the knife and I picked up another knife. He punched me in the face again. And I'm just like, stop picking up fucking knives. And he flips out a knife and I punch him. And I go to punch him a second time and I pick up his fucking knife.
That's exactly
That's
what
where
I'm
it would have been
talking about.
helpful. Yeah, that's where it would have been helpful to know how to throw the knife. Like get rid of these fucking
True.
knives that I keep picking up.
And I don't know what the
Yeah.
solution for that is, because obviously every other button, it's not like you can just press down to pick items up, because that's a direction you can go in. It's just
Right.
like, I don't know what the solution for that could have been beyond having more buttons. But
I don't think there's ever a good solution for that. I don't think I've ever played a game like this where you can pick items up where it's been a good mechanic. It's always been like press down and then you can't move, or use your attack button and then you can't friggin' attack, or just something. There's never a good spot for it. But
True.
I at least appreciate that it's one of the mechanics in the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to choke on my own spit here for a second.
Okay.
I was like, "What? Are you okay over there?"
No, I'll make it. No, I appreciate the weapons, but honestly, it can get kind of annoying when you don't want them. If you're on a heater without weapons and then all of a sudden you get like your combo gets broken because you have to pick up something, it's kind of like, why the fuck would you do that to me, game? Just let me continue punching people because they're lining up one by one, action movie style, and I'm punching them
Yeah.
back in order.
It's like Sam said,
No.
though. I think it's an unavoidable consequence of the style of genre. It's
Yeah. Well, it depends. I mean, if we go back to the comparison to Turtles, they have their weapons, and if you go to the original Turtles game, the secondary weapon is locked in with the select button. You go to Turtles 4, there is no real secondary weapon. So there is ways around it. Just don't have the weapons if you don't need them, or not so many weapons.
Yeah, the screen gets a little cluttered when there's a bunch of enemies, and then like 2 will come in with pipes, or there's that friggin' guy with all of his knives.
that
That can be a little annoying.
No, the real question we have to ask is why does every game from the 90s or the 16-bit era use roasted chicken as a health restorative?
I
Like,
don't know
oh,
about
look at
you.
this oil barrel punch. Oh, there's a roasted chicken in there.
Yeah.
It's just like
Or an apple.
Yeah, it's like, garbage apple. This is delicious.
that is
Oh,
the
yeah.
exact opposite way you would regain health in real life, right?
Eating chicken out of a dumpster.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like I've walked through the streets of London. Some may call streets of rage. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen a discarded KFC on the floor, and never once have I thought, I
I'm feeling
certainly
a
would.
little sick today. I better go eat that discarded KFC.
I sure would feel better after that.
Now,
Now,
if it
if
was
I'm
Popeye's
walking
chicken,
through, yeah, I was gonna say if it's Popeyes, we're gonna give Alan a call.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
and it's not.
Popeyes. I'll
And
take
in
pipe for Popeyes.
God, in the UK, it's not Streets of Rage. It's like Lanes of Rage or something like that.
Avenue.
lanes of slight
Lanes.
discontent.
Yeah, Lanes of Consternation.
2.
2. I forgot the 2.
Up here in Canada, we call it Streets of Not Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Streets of not sorry.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me there, eh? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Just getting around to go beat up your boss. Oh, no, no problems. No problems at all, eh?
Man. Oh, was this an arcade game? Because I think Bare Knuckle, right, is what it was called in Japan, or the
Yep.
original. What'd you think of the arcade style timer on the top? Did you ever run out of time?
No,
No.
but I did notice it wasn't for the entire level, but the kind of the block of enemies you're currently fighting.
Right. Yeah. Once you get through that section, it'll reset back up to 99. I
Oh,
never
it's
ran
not
out of
like-
time.
No.
It's not even the section. It is literally like the section has 3 sections to it inside of it, like 3 screens that move over.
Yeah.
That timer only counts for that one little slice of that section, and then it would reset as you moved forward to the next slice of the section. It was weird.
And
yeah,
honestly,
it was weird. It was up there, but I found myself not paying attention to it because it never mattered.
No.
I mean, if you're in danger of running out of time in this game, you are going to get beaten the fuck up before you run out of time.
Yeah,
Like,
you're going to be well dead.
absolutely.
Well, there was one time that I think the timer got to like the kind of 30 seconds range, and that was when I was fighting Jet, just because it was so hard to like line up the jump kicks, and then the jump kicks did so little damage that
all right, sure.
that,
Yeah, I could see how that could be an issue.
that fight just takes so fucking long because that's all you can do is jump kick, unless you're skilled enough to be able to line them up and punch them, which you can do. And I'm sure if you can do that, then you can beat Jet really quickly. I just could not figure it out.
Yeah, that guy's a bitch.
Real dick.
It's funny.
Yeah, and like, yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Well, I mean, I think we might be going to the same place here because there's a spot where you have to fight the fucking Wish.com Blanca and Jet at the same time, and that's where I tapped out. That's the end of level 6, which is the jungle, and that was like, fuck that. I game overed on that, and I was so pissed.
I got lucky. I got so lucky because I managed to line them both up at the same time, and and managed to hit them both with Blaze's special attack. So she does like almost like a Hadouken thing.
Yeah,
and like I managed to hit that sort of every time that Jet came down, and sort of locked Zamza as well. So that just everything aligned right there. Otherwise, because they'd taken a good couple of my lives at that point, and I definitely lucked out there.
Yeah,
I just played it on easy.
Yeah, I should probably try that. I don't think either of them are particularly strong. It's just that they're so shifty and hard to hit.
Very
and then
mobile.
If you're focused on one, the other one's gonna come do something or whatever. Like, you might be punching the Zamza dude. I think in the jungle he's called Souther. He must have a palette swap or something. But you're punching on him, and the Jet guy will come like pick you up and fly you off screen and slam you down. It's like takes half your health.
Yeah, or just dive bomb you in the middle of a
combo. Oh shit! There was another bullshit part that I hated. Right after the amusement park, so level 3. Oh no, it's level 4 because you're in the stadium. Yeah, level 4. You're in the stadium. So right before the Abadidi or whatever fight, you're on that pitcher's mound, and then you go down
Mhm.
an elevator. So of course, in a beat 'em up, there's an elevator, like classic. Turtles have those too, where you're just in an elevator fighting streams of enemies until the elevator goes up or down. And in this one, there is no health. You're just kind of whatever you have left over after fighting the mid boss in the baseball diamond. You go down the pitcher's mound, and um, it's just wave after wave, and you get
Mhm.
surrounded so easily.
It
I really couldn't.
sure gets cluttered in there.
I really didn't like that part. That was like you couldn't give me like one fucking elevator chicken or something. Like
Elevator
not one
chickens
health
don't
drop.
exist, silly.
Yeah,
Either
like
come from
not one
walls or
health drop.
garbage cans.
No, elevators have walls.
Yeah, they have walls.
Not
And
this one. This one was a pitcher's mound in the middle of a baseball diamond that had an intricate series of tunnels underneath the
that
pitcher's
was
mound.
weird. And in Japan, do they have like special baseball stadiums that have like the starting pitcher comes up from underneath the stadium? Because that would be really cool.
Yes, nobody write in and prove us wrong.
Yeah, and we're just going on that. That's now canon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was, I mean, there are a few areas just like that. I mean, I think level 7 as well has another elevator,
Ugh.
which just, again, and by that point, you're getting flooded not just with normal enemies, but a lot of these sub and sort of main bosses. And God, you are really crawling to the end of this game.
Yeah,
You have to work for it.
I think.
Yeah, I'd say after the ship or level 5 or stage 5 is when I started. Even on, like I said, I played it on easy because I was just trying to get a feel of the game. Even then, it kind of got a little bit beefy for easy. It wasn't overly hard, not as hard as you guys are talking, obviously, but yeah, I think that's where the game kind of throws what it can at you to kind of ruin your day.
Sure. Because by and large, you've probably built up quite a few lives in the early going.
Unless
So-
I lost 4 of them in a row on some stupid piece of shit.
Well, exactly. Brian, are there on easy mode? Are there still 8 stages?
Yep.
Okay, good. I didn't
No,
know.
it's
If
just-
they, I know some games they sort of have more stages, less stages, depending on
Well,
the
this
difficulty.
one has an intricate story that it has to develop through a very bold narrative, as explained to you in the inner level dial. No, it just has 8 stages.
Mr. X.
Yeah. Oh god. I don't know. I'm like I've always said, I'm a big story guy, and beat 'em ups don't have good stories in them. Like Scott Pilgrim versus the World has a big, robust background story to the whole universe that we've all seen the movies and the mangas and all that stuff, but the game doesn't really impart you with said story. Turtles, same thing. That has a whole franchise behind it. The Turtles games don't really impart a story to you. You kind of fill in the blanks as you go. And this game is the exact same thing. The only reason you know what's going on is because there's a little clip at the beginning and what's in the manual.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's enough. I'd just like to point out I don't actually know anything about Scott Pilgrim.
Well,
I don't either.
You have homework.
Apparently.
No, I
Scott
don't.
Pilgrim
I'm not gonna
versus the
do it.
World, the movie with Michael Cera or Cena, Michael
No,
Cera.
I haven't seen it. I mean, I played a little bit of the game, but that's about it.
Well,
Game
I'm
looks
telling you
cool.
guys, go check out that movie because it is definitely worth the watch.
All right,
It's actually pretty fun too,
cool.
especially if you like beat 'em ups, because that's what it is. It's a straight up beat 'em up. In the movie, Michael Cera, what's his name? Michael Cera is.
Yeah.
I do not enjoy him as an actor most of the time, but this movie, he fit the role perfectly.
Nice. Okay.
Also, it
We'll have
has Brandon Ruth. It has Captain America, Chris Evans there.
Oh, no way.
Brie Larson's in it. Oh yeah, it's got an all-star cast. It's an Edgar Wright movie.
Oh, is it? Oh,
It is. Same as Baby Driver, and I can't remember what else he did.
Edgar Wright. He did Shaun of the Dead, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it. Shaun of the Dead. That's the one I was
Oh.
thinking of.
It's one of the greatest
good
films
movie.
of all time.
So there you
Lost
go.
me
There's
at
your
Scott Pilgrim, though.
incentive to go watch that movie. It is Edgar Wright.
There you go. And look, and we got our little deviation from the episode out of the way.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did only an hour into it, or hour into
Well,
our conversation.
We are getting
anyways.
better.
Well, at least it was about a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey, go us.
we're staying in the genre.
Well, I don't know what else to say about this game, to be honest. Like, I'm just like, my brain is just completely blanked on it because
Well,
I get
we
a
didn't
lot of
talk.
people like this game, but God, I get it's good. It's a fantastic game. I just don't really see a lot of stuff on the all dressed potato here. Is just not how you would describe this game. It is very bland.
Oh, I
But
disagree. I
somebody's
think
going to
it's
come
fun.
after me for that one.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I think
it
it's
might be
fun.
us.
I don't know.
Oh,
I think we're going to be the ones who come after you, Brian.
Yeah,
yeah,
we might.
probably. You do that for every time we do a Castlevania or a Sega game.
Yeah, Brian's just
Hey,
gonna shit
here's
on
a
it. And we'll be
Sega
like,
game. It's
nope,
like,
it's good.
oh god!
I
And
know.
then every game I give you guys is pure gold.
I think I don't know. Like I said, I don't particularly enjoy the genre, but I love this game. Like I thought this was fun, and I felt myself, even though I felt myself quite a bit.
Laying pipe.
Anyways, I don't enjoy playing beat 'em ups that much, but I did feel that I wanted to go back and play this. I had the itch to play it while it was on my plate. So, um, I think that's pretty rare for something like this. I can get pretty easily frustrated. If we had decided like, well, we're going to cover Streets of Rage 1 or 3, I don't think I would have had as good of a time, and I think I would have been a little bit more hard on the game than I was on this. This has some really frustrating elements to it, I think, but it's overall a good game, and if it's something that I had played as a kid and been a little bit more used to, I could see going through and beating this in a run, even
No,
on like the difficulty I played it on.
I agree with you on the fact that this is a really fun game. Like, I'm by no means is this getting a low score from me. It I'm fair weather on the beat 'em ups. I like them or I hate them. It's all game dependent. I could see myself starting this game again and just sitting on the couch and shutting my brain off and playing through it. It's short enough that it's good for just to pick it up and go through. Long enough and challenging enough that it's not going to be just a quick 10-minute game.
And that's it, isn't it? I mean, that's pretty much exactly what this game styles itself as, because everything you've just described is sort of what you want out of an action film, especially sort of a 90s action flick. You just want something that you can put on, shut your brain off, and just enjoy some mindless violence for an hour or two.
Oh,
And
that's
it's just
yeah.
fun. And I don't know if we mentioned just how much the music in this game fucks.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because I don't think we talked enough about it.
No, we haven't yet.
Like, it is spectacular.
Well, it has one of the most recognizable songs in retro gaming, which is the stage one first song you hear, and it's that techno.
Yeah.
I don't even know the name of the song. It's just like this techno do 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 do.
Yeah, I
And
know what you mean. Yeah.
Yep, it's
yeah, and
called Go Straight.
Oh, there you go.
Well, no, never.
Go
Well, I'm as
go
in like
straight
walk
to
forward.
horny jail.
Yeah, straight to horny jail.
But no, it's like it's something special. Like the guy who composed this, fuck, I had his name. We were talking about him before we started recording.
You did?
Yeah, Yuzo Koshiro has done a lot of stuff in the video game industry, and he said he wanted this game to be more of like a techno meets house meets extremely hard techno blend of music, and he does a really good job. But if you look through his credits for the games he's worked music on, you can see that he is very like what's the word I'm looking for? He has a very large repertoire of different styles of music. Like I said earlier, he has done the music for ActRaiser 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
Robotrek, those are Quintet games. He's done the music for Sonic the Hedgehog. Uh, looking for other games we might recognize here.
Man, that's crazy.
Shemu.
Just sometimes there's people that are just, they don't necessarily stick to a specific genre. They are just talented in general, no matter what. They're just so musically talented that they can compose music in pretty much any genre. And
Oh, yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
when we were doing our 5x5 of like you had those Super Nintendo music tracks, and I had the Sega ones, and we just kind of went back and forth. And I picked one from this game, and I noted that in my research on those that I think there are techno clubs or like dance clubs or whatever that will like play Streets of Rage 2 music, or just not even just pulled right from the game, but arrangements of Streets of Rage music, and it's like, man, the dance floor probably goes crazy because it's
Yeah,
just good music.
I believe it. I mean, when that boss music kicks in, like, it gets you hype.
Yeah, it's good.
That's
Well,
it
my
just fits the
about him
game so
was
perfectly.
yeah, and that was going to actually be my point about him as a composer is he's really able to make the music fit the tone of the game. Like I'm not looking for some well orchestrated philharmonic version of Final Fantasy S type music in a game where you're in a back alley kicking the shit out of men and women alike. I want a song that will pump me up, and he has perfectly captured that in this game.
Definitely. Couldn't agree with you
So,
Yeah,
more.
yeah, it's
and
the
that,
music
that
is
puts him
damn
on the
good.
list of one of the greats for me. Like, the more we do this podcast, the more I learn about different types of composers, and I'm going to put him right up there as one of my favorite.
He's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah. I
Which
respect
is
that
a
take.
mark for the Sega
There you go.
people.
There you go.
Yep. See, it's more than a doorstop.
Yeah, yeah. Now he works for Nintendo.
Does he really?
Well, he works on whatever the fuck he works on. You know,
Well,
these
I was gonna say,
composers after a while just they become so popular that they can just basically make their own company. Like Nobuo Uematsu there has his own company. He doesn't work for Square or anybody else. So
yeah, that's
No,
true.
I mean that guy has like paid his dues. Let's be fair.
Yeah,
Like he doesn't have to go to people anymore. They'll come to him.
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
exactly. And right here, his biggest credit in 2022, Sega Genesis Mini 2. He did the menu theme. So
Oh
you
shit! I
got
should
the
fire that up and listen to it.
oh
Hey.
yeah, dance
I
to
got
it.
one of those. Got one of those. I will.
Oh
Ah,
yeah, this is my jam. This is my jam.
just
Anything
such a
anything else
good
on this game?
console.
Mm, not really. Besides, like we talked about the items, I still don't get why they had cash bags and gold bars that just gave you
Oh,
points.
yeah, but the
That's
points.
something I thought about. And maybe you're about to correct me, but let me get my
Yep,
rant out here.
I am going to. But go ahead.
Why is yeah? Why is there no ability to kind of upgrade your character as you go? And I'm not talking about like making him so overpowered by the end of the game, but you got the stats at the beginning. Why can't you find cash bags and gold bars, and at the end of the stage, you have money to spend on, say, getting him new gloves or something, which increases his power, or
Yeah,
Nikes, which increases his speed?
that'd be cool.
I think it would add an element to the game that would make it a little bit better, but and then again, the purists would come after me.
Yeah, I think it does add something that changes kind of the format of the game.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I could hear either argument, but like, so the money bag is worth 1,000 points, and the gold bar is worth 5,000 points, and every on the score meter, every 25,000, I think, or 250,000 maybe. There was a certain point threshold that would give you a one up. So I was picking up the gold bars and the money bags for sure because I wanted to gather as many points as possible and get myself to the next one up. And that's how I ended up with, at one point in the game, I had like 7 lives before I lost a whole bunch of them. But you can gather lives that way by gathering points.
All right,
Yeah.
well,
And there was
there's
only
I guess
one.
some benefit to them.
I think
There was only
it's
one up in the game that I found.
yeah, they are sparse. Like
Yeah.
I think I only found a couple, but I think while I don't disagree that that would have been a nice touch, I think this is very much an arcade style game, and I think that's what they were going for the whole way. So, and bear in mind, I mean, when was this released? 1992, 3?
92.
So,
92.
for the time there, I mean, everyone wanted that arcade feel in the home, and I think they pretty much nailed it. So, I don't know. Sometimes less is more.
You're not wrong on that one. I guess I'm looking at it through a lens of hindsight,
Hmm.
and I don't know. Like I said, being able to almost customize your character a little bit, and not overly much, but just enough there to give you a little bump
Oh yeah, and
in how the
Yeah.
game changes.
if they brought that for like a new Streets of Rage game, I'd be into it 100%.
Did they do that in 4 at all? Was there any sort of
No,
like leveling or no?
no,
No.
it's the same idea. At least I'm
They
pretty
kept it
sure
simple.
4 is the same idea.
Did they do it in Shredder's Revenge? I thought you could pick up skill points or whatever.
You know what? I've had that
You
game sitting on my
can,
shelf
but
for ages. I just haven't popped it in
um,
yet.
when you go through Shredder's Revenge, you get levels, and the levels unlock abilities and
Oh,
skills.
that's right. Yeah, I did like
Yeah.
that, but again, that makes the game a less arcadey experience and more of a, you know, I guess console type or not. Don't want to say RPG, but like there's a skill
Yeah, I
progression or a skill tree. It kind of is not an arcade style thing.
sure. I mean, Streets of Rage is entirely a product of its time, and I think that arcadey style of gameplay reflects that. And even for Streets of Rage 4, because what they were trying to do there is, of course, recapture that nostalgic feel. So to go too far away from what people loved about it in the first place, they
Right.
probably didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, I guess people that really enjoyed the game, for what it was, would probably not like a game that's too different from what they know and love. It's kind of like, we were kind of starting to dabble into Rocket Knight a little bit, and I had to emulate it to try to play it in its original format. And then you mentioned that there was that remake, and I did play a little bit of that remake. I streamed it on PS Plus, and it is not good.
Ooh.
It's just not
Really?
fun.
Because well,
I don't
I
know. I didn't like the remake. I liked the original. So
Mm.
I don't know. I could see
well, the first
I
one
could
I
see both
jumped
sides.
into was the remake, and then I like you had to emulate the original, and I don't know. We'll end up talking about that one day, and I don't think we're going to fully agree on it.
No, I think it's a great game. I just didn't like the remake.
I think you're a great game. I just don't like when you
Well,
remake
that's
yourself.
well, that's fine. That's like your opinion, man.
do you guys want a minute or
No, we're good to go. We'll just
No,
we'll
well,
splice in that music there that kind of creates the intermission.
nice,
or just
nice. Yeah.
just put in some Streets of Rage music, and then we'll
Yeah.
punch each other.
And
Dun, 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 dun,
while
dun.
we argue over everything, I'll just have the Streets of Rage music in the background there, and then it'll fade out and be like, "I love you, Sam."
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna I'm just gonna vibe here in the corner.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be one of those guys that's inevitably in the back of like a fighting game, just like
Oh
randomly
yeah, yeah,
waving it. You know, like the guys in Street Fighter. It's just like,
yeah.
what is?
Exactly. You're the guy in the Gaia level there who just keeps raising his arm over and over again.
Yeah, or just one of the random dudes who's just like, I'm just out to buy fish. What the fuck are you fighting about?
Yeah. Why are these guys fighting in the middle of my walk home?
Because it's called Street Fighter, not Sidewalk Fighter.
There we are.
Sidewalk
Although
Fighter. That'd be a fun one.
this is
That's
called
more
Streets
safe.
of Rage, but they go into the jungle. Should it be called Backroads in a Jungle of Rage?
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
very little of this game actually took place in the street.
Exactly. Like you go off the street after the first level, you're in a bar, then you're on a pirate ship, and you're in the jungle, then you're I don't know, another pirate ship or something. No,
I
a
do like
munitions
the
plant, and then you're in a stronghold. Not to mention the stadium, the amusement park, the bridge construction. Like
Maybe the
not a lot of
streets were the
streets.
friends
I
we
like the
made on the way.
yeah. I do like the environments though. I thought they were really well done, and
Yeah.
like
Oh
the
yeah, I mean, if
graphical
this was
style
all
was
streets, it'd be boring.
right. I thought the graphical style was good, like as far as how the character models looked, and the I mean, Blaze would finish a level and then she'd like flip her hair. Like all those little animations were so cool. Yeah, I don't know. Just there's not I don't have enough good things to say about this game. This is just
No.
a great game. I can't say enough. I meant that this is a great game. This is a good
No,
game.
I think we've said it all. I don't think
Yeah.
Can't
there's
say
much else we can
enough
really
good
talk
things.
about.
All the good.
All the good. This is a great. I'm starting to like run out of steam with this one.
Well, do you want to?
I'd play it again. I definitely, like I said, even when I wasn't playing it, and though it's not my favorite style of game, I still found myself wanting to go back and give it another run.
Absolutely.
What,
It
what more could you ask for?
I might actually go back to this one, but then again, I was playing Streets of Rage 4 and I was enjoying that a lot more. So I don't know if I'll ever go specifically back to this one, but I'm definitely going back to Streets of Rage 4.
I mean,
Yeah, I
that's a
gotta try
great
that
game.
one out. I have a copy.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And you can play online, so we can get together and we can just pipe each other.
Oh,
Oh,
I
we
did
could.
not know that.
Pipe sesh.
There you go.
Pretty sure Streets of Rage 4 has an online mode.
Yeah, it probably does.
I'm sure it does. Like at this point in the game, like what beat 'em up or like fighting game doesn't have an online mode?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. It says, well, I know online 4-player co-op. Oh, yeah, it looks like it doesn't.
Oh.
Well, fuck you, Streets of Rage. I hate it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is absolute garbage. Sandler, take us home.
All right. Well, yeah, this was a good game. Let's do our let's do our final thoughts here. I'd say graphics, music, gameplay for a fighting game. We'll give it that caveat because it's not my favorite, but it made me want to play a game in a style that I don't particularly usually enjoy, and that's saying something. I think so. Streets of Rage 2, I'm gonna give a good solid 9 out of 10. I think it is that good. And if you haven't played it before and you like games of this style, I don't know why you wouldn't, because I think most people who like beat 'em ups have played Streets of Rage 2. But if by some chance you haven't, because not everyone has played everything, it's available on the Switch Online, on the Genesis. It's on all kinds of Genesis collections. I think physical copies of the original are getting a little bit pricey. I think they're about like probably $25 to $30 loose, but it's worth having at some somehow if you're able to get your hands on it, and it's worth the playthrough.
Right on. Absolutely. I mean, I will agree with Sam that, beat 'em ups are not particularly my favorite genre. So it does speak to how good this game is that I like it as much as I do. And admittedly, it does get a huge nostalgia bump because my brother and I spent so many hours playing these games when we were kids. So it does have a very special place in my heart. It looks cool. It sounds amazing. I mean, this is just a perfect little slice of the 1990s in game form. Like I said, it's brainless action fun. I mean, who cares about the story? Who cares about why you're punching 300 people in the face? It's just so much fun to do it. And oh, I think it's going to be bad radio, but I think I have to go a 9 as well. I think I'm going to have to agree with you, Sam.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
God,
did I say
just
9?
kiss
Yeah.
and get it over with.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Okay.
we Genesis kids or Mega Drive kids, we know what's good.
We
Yeah.
had two
Give me that
games,
pipe.
and one
Give me
of them
that
was
pipe.
Streets of Rage, and the other was Streets of Rage 2.
And
No,
and 3.
Says the
yeah,
guy
and
who
3.
likes Rocket Knight. Come on. And you
Well,
also
so,
like Sonic. You loved Sonic.
oh no, I didn't.
I
As a
know.
dissenter, I
He's
guess
trying to rewrite
dissenting
history.
opinion. The guy who didn't grow up with this type of game. I was just kind of looking up what else came out in 1992 and loosely comparing them. And this seems around the era when gaming, like when I was a kid, gaming. Well, I was a teenager almost at this point, but gaming was considered a kid's toy. Like playing the Nintendo or the Sega was considered something kids do. Adults don't play video games. And it was getting to the point where I'd always be told you it's time to grow up. You don't play video games anymore because life is supposed to be joyless. But
Right. Yep.
Super Nintendo at this time was bringing out more, I don't know, family friendly games. We'll call them, like Super Mario Kart came out, Mario Paint, things like that. So it wasn't a lot of more adult oriented games, but PC had Wolfenstein. This had Streets of Rage 2. There is games definitely that this is where I find the shift was really started to, make games a little more for teenagers and adults rather than just, for kids. So it is kind of nice to see. And I've been talking a long time in a circle because I forgot my main point, but I just remembered it. Anyways, for somebody who never played this game as a kid, playing it and trying to look back at myself in that era, I probably would have liked this game a lot more than I do now, simply because it was of the genre at the time that made it feel a little more risque, a little more adult, as opposed to some of the other games that have come out, like Super Mario World and stuff like that. Those games that I was playing that my parents thought were safe. So I'm going to not give this game a low score, but I'm definitely not giving it a 9. It is not worthy of a 9, in my opinion. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's
No, it's not. I told you
Still a
that I
great
did
game.
not hate this game. Everything I say about it that's negative is kind of like, so what? It still works. It's like,
Yeah.
is it repetitive? So what? I still had fun playing it.
Right.
sure.
The music is awesome. The boss fights are challenging, even though I'm playing on easy because I'm just not good at video games anymore. The characters are somewhat interesting and different enough that gives you 4 different ways to play the game. And the non-existent story, if you actually look it up, actually is pretty interesting.
There you go.
Yeah, it's almost like, yeah, I think Turtles in Time got a good score from you, but that was a little bit nostalgia speaking too, right? Like if you had, like you said, if you had played this game, you probably would have liked it, and you probably would have more affection for it nowadays
Exactly.
than you do now.
It's
Coming into
it's
it,
a
playing it
product of the
fresh.
time. Playing something
Yeah.
I've never played before as a an over 40 adult is going to hit me differently than something as a 12-year-old.
But it's still.
Alternatively, Alan, in 1992, Alicia Dragoon came out.
Well, there you go. I mean, I can't remember what I gave that game, but this is a better game than Alicia Dragoon. Although that is a fantastic game as well. And
you
I
can
think
hear
everyone
Alan's
should.
opinion if you join the Patreon.
Spoilers, everyone should play it.
But no, it's just yeah. I'm just going through the list. MC Kids came out in 1992. We got to play that game still.
No.
Oh man. Anyways, no, that's what it is. 8 out of 10 from me, and that's my final opinion.
Yeah, I think this kind of epitomizes that Sega does what Nintendo don't, right? Or at least it had that attitude. Like Sega games could maybe have a little bit more of that edgy attitude, like Mortal Kombat had blood,
Yeah, that's what made the console wars so interesting at the time, is the consoles were effectively different. Like the PlayStation Xbox fight is about the exclusives. It's not about the overall concept or where the systems are trying to take gaming. Like Nintendo's trying to be the family-friendly console, and Sega's trying to be the adult or teenager console. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, like Nintendo's trying to be your best friend, and Sega's gonna steal your lunch money and smoke a cigarette.
Yeah. Nintendo's the guidance counselor at your school, sits you down there and talks to you all nice and stuff about what happened to you, and Sega just kicks the door in and tells you you're fucking grounded.
Yeah.
Then beats the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stop being a pussy.
Yeah. And play Streets of Rage, damn it.
Yeah.
Well, boys.
All right.
Great game.
Great game.
That's all there is to it. Everyone go play it if you haven't. And I suppose unless you guys have anything else, I can take us out here.
Go ahead.
Can you take us out? I worked out of a catchphrase and everything. I thought you were going to try to get.
Did you really? Oh, lay it on us. What's your catchphrase?
Take us to the streets, Brian.
All right, go out and play some Streets of Rage and lay some pipe.